you, and I would like to first of all thank ICODE as well as Brother Ilyas for giving me this opportunity to come here and deliver a lecture on this very, very sensitive topic. And I hope whatever I will be conveying to you would be digested by you. And as the coordinator has said, that there are questions. I will be more than happy to answer your questions. Rather, the time which has been given to me is 1 hour, but I am of the opinion that I would like to make it as short and brief and to the point, and I would like it to be more interactive, because in the past I have been going to a lot of similar kind of lectures, and I always prefer to have an interaction rather than a kind of monologue. So I would limit my talk to a few minutes, and I would prefer to answer questions from the audience. Well, the topic, as it says, should homosexuality be legalized or not? Obviously, you know what is going to be my answer to that. What is a homosexual? I would like to just, you people are aware of it, but yet I would just like to quote something. A person who has emotional and sexual attraction towards a member of the same gender is called a homosexual. The other words for homosexual are queer, gay. In Marathi and Hindi it's called samalangik. It's used to describe a homosexual. Generally, the word gay is used to describe a man who is attracted emotionally and sexually to another man, and a lesbian is a woman who is attracted emotionally and sexually towards another woman. A person who has attraction towards a member of the opposite gender is said to be heterosexual, and another word for heterosexual is straight. And a person who is attracted towards the members of the same sex as well as the members of the opposite sex is said to be bisexual. So these are the terms which I thought would make you familiar with. This definition has taken me the entire life to think about and to talk and to tell you what I refer to as a homosexual. So I thought that I would, in this short span of time, I would like to tell you my entire life story. I'm 43 years old now, and in this 43 years, whatever has happened to me in my life, the significant moments I would like to share with you rather than talk, give a theoretical lecture with real life examples. Well, I was born in 1965 when the India-Pakistan war was going on, and I was born on the ceasefire day, when India and Pakistan decided that we will not have any war anymore. And so it was a celebration. People thought, oh, there's a prince was born, and he's born on the ceasefire day, and he's brought peace to both the countries. So it was a historical day when I was born. And as I was growing up, the life of royal family is very, very different than life of being a commoner. I mean, I'm sure you people might have heard stories or fairy tales or whatever, and it's very different. We are not brought up by your parents. The parents just give birth to you. You are brought up by a governess, a guardian, who looks after you from day-to-day activities, domestic help, everything. And I too was brought up by a governess, and till quite an early age in life, I thought my governess to be my mother, because she was the one who showered on the love on me, attachment on me, affection. And so as a child, I couldn't understand these things. And as I grew a little more older, you can say around the age of puberty, that is the time when you start discovering or exploring your sexuality. And that is the time I started discovering that I am not attracted towards the opposite sex, but I am attracted towards the same sex. I am attracted towards boys, basically. Now, being born up in a royal family itself was like being born in a cocoon atmosphere. Everything was so protected, so guarded. I had 22 servants working for me in Bombay. I was born and brought up in Bombay. And in a place like Bombay, you have 22 servants all over you. You're not allowed to go to anyone's house. You're not allowed to meet anyone. Nobody can meet you except person from your status. And the whole thing was so much protected that I didn't know what I was doing, whether what I was doing was right, whether I was doing wrong, whether attraction towards the same sex is right, wrong, whether it's a crime, whether it's a disease. There was no clarity, there was nobody to talk to, no communication with parents. So these are the things which were happening in my mind. And as I grew older, I continued with my education. And at the time of the marriage came, I was ready for a marriage. And basically why I was ready for a marriage, because I didn't know what I was. I was not sure about the term homosexuality, what it is being gay. And so I was absolutely ready for a marriage. There was no marriage pressure on me. And my parents found a beautiful princess from me and got me married to her. Well, the first night, as Oprah Winfrey asked me in her show, how did the first night go? What did you say to her? Did you have a headache? I said, yeah, I did say I have a headache. I'm very tired because the lot of ceremonies, this, that, royal families, the ceremonies are going on day in, day out. And I said, I'm not interested to do anything with you. And so the second night went, and third night went, and fourth night went, and yet nothing happened. Ultimately, she managed to struggle to live with me for 15 months. That was the worst period of her life. And then the whole marriage was a disaster. It ended in a divorce. The marriage never got consummated. I never had sexual intercourse with my wife because I was not sure. When I got married, also the feeling of attraction towards the male was there. And I could not do anything with my wife because she was not male, she is a female. So, and still I was not clear. Whom do I talk to? Whom do I consult? What do I do in this situation? And my wife, she realized that she did doubt me. We've never talked about my sexuality. I used to only tell her that I like so-and-so hero like Amir Khan or Salman Khan or something of that sort. I used to tell that I like that, I fancy that hero. But we never talked about our sexuality. And one thing she told me, which I still remember and will never forget in my life, before she left me, she told me that you have tried to spoil the life of a girl like me. I would strongly advise you, please do not do it again to anyone else. And that thing really struck my heart. I was really very guilty that what did I do? No fault of that girl. She got married to me thinking that I am heterosexual, that I could satisfy her physically and mentally and everything wise. I had satisfied her completely. Financially, she was a princess. She got married to me, and she was from a lower class princely state. She getting married to a higher class princely state. Living in a palace for her was a dream. But money is not everything in marriage. Finance is not everything. You might be given a whole palace to live. But if you are not satisfied physically or sexually, then what is the use of this marriage? And I was so guilty. I said, I must get this girl a good match for her marriage. She must get married again because I was feeling guilty that I spoiled somebody's life. And it so happened that she's now well settled. She's got a good husband and she's living a good, happily married life. And I pray to God that yes, it was good that it happened, because of her I was feeling very, very bad that I was not able to satisfy her. And then again the marriage pressures came, and then I decided that no, I must first discover myself. As luck would have had it, at that time in the 1990s, I would say, the HIV/AIDS epidemic had started spreading in India, and there was a first gay newsletter to be published in India by Ashok Rao Kavi, the first gay activist from India. He happened to be the editor of this magazine. And I somehow, while reading some magazines or newspapers,